Shimano is absolutely massive in the bike world, but there is a small company that might soon challenge this dominance. And until now, only a few very hardcore cyclists knew about it, but today that changes. So what we're talking about today is this, an electronic group set from a Chinese manufacturer called L-TWOO. They've been around for a few years now, making mechanical group sets at very good prices, but this is their first electronic group set. But the really exciting part is the fact that, as far as I know anyway, this is the first bike brand to offer this group set as a complete bike option, and definitely a game changer, and makes the group set a more accessible and a more viable alternative to Shimano. But what's the catch? Well, in this video I'll share my first impressions of spending time with this bike and the group set. We'll talk about the shifting performance, the ergonomics, the brakes, charging and other key features of the group set and how it compares to Shimano. But it's definitely not an in-depth long-term review. I've actually just bought the group set. You might see my video linked down below in case you haven't. And I am building that onto a frame for a long-term test over the next few months. So definitely stay tuned if you want to see that. So let's start with the price, which is probably the main reason for choosing this group set over Shimano 105 Di2, which is probably the benchmark in terms of affordable electronic shifting, launched last year. So Handsling is a small UK company, and as far as I know, it's the first bike brand to actually offer this new L-TWOO electronic group set as an option on their bikes. So this is their CX Evo platform for gravel, adventure and cyclocross racing, and with a group set retails for £3,600. And to put that in perspective, it's £600 cheaper than the same frame with a Shimano 105 Di2 group set. So a big price saving, and that's a lot of money to save by choosing L-TWOO over Shimano. And straight away, it looks really, really appealing. You can also get their Aero bike, which I reviewed about 2 years ago, with the same group set for £3,800. Two bikes with the same group set, pick the one you want. And to put that price in context, you're normally looking at anywhere between £4,000 and up to £7,000 in some cases. So quite a wide range of prices, but definitely more expensive than what we have here. So let's look at the group set in a bit more detail. And first impressions are really good. We have this nice gloss black finish with the gold logos on the rear mech, the front mech and the brake levers, which are carbon fiber as well. So it does look like a high-end premium group set and doesn't look cheap at all. And in terms of functionality, it does appear to be a Shimano Di2 clone. So we have the shifters and brake levers which are wireless, and then the front mech and the rear mech are wired to a battery inside the frame. So very similar from that point of view. There's a charging port on the back of the rear mech, and the battery lasts a claimed 3,000 kilometers. While the rear mech doesn't look very nice, the front mech, this part here anyway, quite bulky, quite chunky, and not as pretty as the rear mech. The only downside to this new group set is, well, the fact it's not a complete group set. They don't currently offer their own cassette, chain and chain set. So Handsling have used a Shimano cassette 1134 and chain, and to keep the price down, they've gone for a Z Race chain set, a aluminium design that looks very similar to another Spanish brand. Let me know if you know the one I'm thinking of by leaving a comment down below. You could upgrade to a Shimano option. I think that's something they might offer as well, but it definitely keeps the price very competitive. So let's talk about the ergonomics and the shifters, and a really important part of any group set. Get this right and you're on to a winner. And here I'm really impressed. So the fit and the feel of the hoods and the levers is really nice. We have a nice shape to the lever body, a nice textured rubber material. Definitely a bit taller than Shimano and does remind me a bit of Campag, but I don't actually mind the height. It's kind of good to anchor your hands on when you're going over rough ground or riding downhill. So a nice kind of fit, quite slim around the middle as well, and good length from the front to the rear. And then the buttons for shifting gear are very similar, a copy in fact of Shimano Di2. So two buttons or paddles behind each brake lever, going up and down the gears at the front and the back. So the buttons do work very well. fairly tactile in use and a fairly good amount of feedback when you do press the button. You can see the brake lever bending a bit as I press them, and if we're being a bit unfair, not quite as reassuringly built perhaps, but being really picky. But when you ride along and pressing the buttons, they do change gear really well actually. The Groupset is designed around hydraulic disc brakes, and the levers have a nice feel, quite firm when you hit the bite point, not too squidgy or mushy, and a lot of that would depend on the bleed, but they do feel pretty good, nice and firm. I don't think the disc brake rotors on this test bike really help with the outright braking performance, but in general use they feel pretty good. But I reserve judgment on the outright braking performance and durability of the disc brakes for when I get my own Groupset built on a bike and really test it over the next few months as we head into autumn. Let's talk about the shifting performance then, and it's very good. I'm really impressed. The buttons being so similar to Shimano makes it all easy to operate with a nice light action and good feedback, both tactile and audible. A work stand test isn't the best demonstration I know, just an easy way to show the operations for you. At the back, the gear changes are precise with no skid or missed gears. Occasionally there can be a slight delay, but on the whole nothing that really concerns me. Front shifting is just as impressive. The front mech can get the chain dancing between the two rings very nicely indeed, almost as fast as Di2. A Shimano chain set would probably make it even slicker as well. But on the whole, the Groupset works very well, and it's easy to be really picky and compare it to the high standards of Shimano. But it's worth remembering that this is the company's first ever electronic Groupset, and while it clearly copies Shimano, the Japanese company has over 10 years experience. Quite a head start. So first impressions of the new Groupset are very positive indeed, and I can't wait to get my own Groupset built onto a bike for long-term testing over the next few months. And I think if you're looking for a bike with electronic shifting at a reasonable price that's cheaper than Shimano, then this is definitely an appealing option, and I applaud Handsling for being bold and perhaps a bit brave for offering a complete bike with this new Groupset. If you're not used to Shimano shifting and come to this for the first time, I think you'll be really impressed with what you find. But if you are used to Shimano Di2, you might find it a bit less polished than what you're used to. So it all depends on where you're coming from and your experience. But if you're new to electronic shifting, then it's definitely worth considering, especially if you want to save some money and you can't quite stretch to 105 Di2. And if you are tempted by a Groupset, then buying it from a bike brand is probably a more sensible option because they look after you in terms of warranty and after sales service. So fair play to Handsling. I'll put a link to their website down below in case you want to check them out. This video isn't sponsored by them at all. I'm just really excited to share this bike and this opportunity with you. But the big question I want your help with is whether it's cheap enough. Does it need to be cheaper and have a bigger margin between what Shimano is currently offering, or is the price right? Love to hear your thoughts on this subject by leaving a comment down below. Anyway, that's all for now. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and an insight, first impression to L-TWOO's new electronic Groupset. And if you bought the Groupset, let me know what you think of it by leaving a comment down below. Anyway, that's all for today. I've waffled on for ages now, so I'll let you be on your way. If you want to see a unboxing of the new Groupset, then watch the video up here. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel by hitting the button right here. But that really is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all again very soon.